Oh, we didn't talk about the bars.
The bars.
We need to talk about the bars. That was one of the funnest things.
Yes, there was a lot of cool places, and they weren't even like jam-packed or jumping yet like it happens over spring break and through the summer, but tons of cool places that we visited.
From the blog Random Sweets, I'm Stacy Mergenthal, and this is Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens, a show for people who embrace the warm and cozy spirit of everyday living in the northern Midwest. And although we love the Midwest, we dream of white sand beaches and being warmed by the sunshine in the midst of winter. So in February, Jason and I flocked to the pristine beaches along Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama, where we got daily beach flag conditions and surf safety alerts instead of winter weather warnings and road closure reports. In this episode, we talk about our trip, but not really in a, hey, let me show you our vacation slideshow for the next hour sort of way. You'll learn about a few fun places to go to, the ferry you'll want to take for a quicker trip to Mobile, 4 iconic bars to drink at, and the Airbnb where we stayed. After listening to this episode, you'll know which town we want to move to, and why I will forever refer to the Waldorf Astoria as the Waldorf Hysteria. And although we leave our top 5 favorite Gulf Shores dining experiences to the next episode, episode number 17, Jason reveals where he ate the best banana pudding even though it was in Florida. So pack your beach bag and grab your swim trunks. We're spending a few days in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Alabama. We're going to start out with a Kid Rock song today.
Are we recording now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to look up the lyrics.
Oh, well, you can.
It's all right.
Welcome to another episode of Stacy and Jason Go South for the Winter.
Yay.
Because we're tired of getting slapped in the face with the cold wind when we walk outside. So we're going to pack a beach bag instead of a snow emergency kit.
Well, I feel like it's colder now than it was in February.
It is. So we went south again. We went to Gulf Shores, Alabama for a trip in February to celebrate our birthdays. And because I wanted to see Gulf Shores, Alabama, because we're supposed to be deciding between retiring in Arizona or Alabama.
Uh-huh.
Now I've been to both.
I've got nothing.
You've got nothing? You're the one that used to live in Alabama.
I did. I had so much experience in the 10-day trip that we took down there. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to talk about.
Because are you still trying to find the Kid Rock lyrics to Alla F and Bama?
No.
Okay.
I stopped that.
All right. So now focus here.
We could do Leonard Skinner, Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of my favorite movies, too. And I think that's kind of what I had in mind when we went to Alabama. I was picturing being able to see all these plantations. Mm. And that we were we were on the Gulf of Mexico, so that's not really what we saw there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't going there expecting to see lots of plantations.
Well, I know you weren't, but you don't watch Sweet Home Alabama as much as I do. It's the Carmichael plantation.
Okay.
Right? Anyway, so, yeah, we went to Gulf Shores and flew into Destin, Fort Walton Beach.
Well, from where we are, it seemed like the most quickest way to get to Gulf Shores, Alabama, because there's no major airport there. Mobile's a small airport. Pensacola, that's kind of a small airport. Not a lot of carriers have direct flights from where we live to go down there. So it made more sense to drive to the cities and then go to the next closest airport, which was Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Florida.
Yep, so we just rented a car. We went through Pensacola, and this was Mardi Gras week. So there were parades like every dang day.
Every day, every evening. Traffic jams everywhere. Beads everywhere. Beads in the trees. Beads in the streets.
The beads were hanging from all the trees.
Yeah.
So we get to Pensacola, and we're trying to get our way through where they had just finished a parade, and they were trying to open up the streets that were blocked. And you happened to see
Well, I was hungry. I mean, we were hungry from traveling all day, and it's like, oh gosh, we got to find somewhere to eat. And we passed by this cool food truck court, and I just caught a kind of a glimpse of it as we were driving by. And then with the Mardi Gras parade just ending and all the streets still being closed, it probably still took us like another half an hour to turn around and figure out how to get back to this place, but it was worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was called the Garden at Palafox. No, Palafox in Maine.
Okay.
I don't know, the corner
Sounds
of
good
the
to
two
me.
streets. They had Airstreams in there, 4 or 5 Airstreams that were food trucks, and then some other kiosks.
Yeah. It's kind of neat how they converted these old Airstreams into food trucks, and then they lined them all up, and it was kind of an indoor-outdoor venue where it had some tables and chairs set up in the middle in between the food stream trucks or Airstream trucks.
Mm-hmm. I had tacos from the taco place, and I had fried mahi.
Was it good?
It was wonderful. I don't order seafood back here. I'm not going to go somewhere here in the Midwest and order fish tacos or fish.
No, I won't.
Right. We're steak and burgers, the red meat, pork chops, chicken.
Right. But down there, I had lots of fish.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So my first meal there was some fried mahi tacos. But what did you have? Because it made me sweat.
Well, I had a chicken and waffle sandwich, which was 2 Eggos with a breaded fried chicken breast.
Do you really think they were Eggos?
Yeah, they were totally Eggos. Eggos waffles, and then they gave me a little syrup, and it had this Nashville hot sauce on there. And it wasn't even like the hottest sauce they serve, but I was dripping in sweat before I even had that thing half gone.
Mm-hmm. But you said it was really good.
Well, yeah, because I couldn't taste it anymore.
And then you cooled it down with what?
Banana pudding. Some of the best banana pudding I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, you were enjoying it and you weren't sharing it, so I went and bought my own. Classic with vanilla wafer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Definitely needed that to, relieve the pain in my tongue from the hot chicken sandwich. Then we got back in the Jeep and drove the coastline the rest of the way to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Checked into our cool little condo.
Yeah, you want to tell the story about that condo? How you
we
found it? Well, I was on a timeout in the basement.
We searched for a long time. We knew we wanted to go to Gulf Shores, Alabama, but we searched for a long time to find a place that we'd actually want to stay at. And it took a lot of searching. I would look at the pictures and the places of the place, and then you would reject them based upon the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of searching, and you were convinced that we just need to stay at the Waldorf Astoria.
It was not. They don't have a Waldorf Astoria there.
It might as well have been because it was pretty pricey.
It really when we look at what we paid for where we stayed and everywhere else out there, it's really pretty comparable.
It might have been comparable, but I didn't think it was. I thought it was overpriced for what we are going to get.
Okay, so here's the deal. They have the Gulf Shores State Park there, which is really awesome. It's 6,000
acres?
Acres?
Okay, yeah. It's a pretty big place. And my thing is that, okay, it's separate. It's away from everything, too. It was kind of isolated, because it's in the park. And so it's, it's down the road from all the entertainment and services and places that, you'd want to hang out at. So,
but I was looking at it thinking, okay, this place is fairly new, really just built within the last couple of years, I think. It's a Hilton property. It's the lodge at this Gulf Shores State Park.
Yeah, and you weren't
right on the
worry
beach.
About like roaches and
right. I
snakes.
knew it would be clean. It was right on the beach, and it had a swimming pool and a restaurant and a little coffee shop in there. And anyway, so I had kind of picked that, and you're picking the Waldorf Astoria. And I just had enough because we'd already spent a couple hours. So I went and took a time out in the basement. And you kept looking.
I kept looking.
And I then, as we were...
Well, it really wasn't until the next day that we'd come across this other place. And it was in a complex that I had seen a couple other condos available. And this one was very well priced. And it fit our time frame because a lot of places down there for rent, were only available for 4 or 5 days, a weekend. And Airbnb kept trying to throw options like, rent this place for this part of the week and then go and see this place for the next part of the week.
Yeah, we didn't want to have to move.
Right. And I just happened to come across this place at the Lani Kai.
Mm-hmm. And Alicia was our host, and they had actually just opened this Airbnb. So I think it had one review, if that.
Yeah.
So we knew that we'd be one of her first guests, and it turned out really well. We were very happy and certainly would stay there again, but it was just across the street from the beach. So all you have to do is walk out the door, walk across the street, and you're on this private pathway only for Lani Kai guests. And you're on the beach.
Yeah, and it's about a half a mile from, the main road that comes into Gulf Shores,
Yeah, a couple pools. One was adults only, which the time of year we went, which was in February, there weren't a lot of people around. We were the only ones at the pool, but the cold pool felt good after being on the hot beach and in the salty water, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were down there at a time when they were having record high temperatures. Normally it's probably in the mid-60s for highs, and it had been 80s the whole time we were there.
Yeah, and we didn't even pack sunscreen because you said the water's really not going to be warm enough. This isn't like a beach vacation when we go this time of year. We knew we'd be on the beach, but we figured we'd be there the first day we walked down there was on my birthday on Monday so that I could eat cake by the ocean, which I did. Yeah. But I had leggings on because I thought it was going to be cold. I'm like, okay, I'm hot. So we went back and put on our swimsuits. And the rest of the week, we enjoyed time at the beach and got completely fried.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be like sweatshirts and shorts. But
yeah. The look on that lady's face. So that night after I got completely sunburned, we went... And we were buying sunscreen. She kind of looked at us like, it's a little too late for this.
Right.
We're like, yeah, we know, but...
Yeah, we were looking for some aloe at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was...
But we found a really cool place, and it was very reasonable, and certainly it was exactly what I was thinking I wanted to stay at.
And I agree. They have high-rise places out there, like... the Phoenix, the Phoenix 1, the Phoenix 2, the Phoenix 3, they have all these huge monstrosities of tall, high-rise hotels, and that would not be the kind of thing I wanted. And even staying at the lodge at the state park, which I now call the Waldorf Hysteria, because it was like hysterics around here. But anyway, those just weren't the kind of vacations that we wanted. We want very... beachy cottage, and that's what we got. So I'm glad that you did pick out and you didn't give up like I gave up till we found a place.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And big shout out to what's it called, the Blue Palm.
Yeah, so I think she calls it the Blue Palm Getaway at Lani Kai. Yeah. And if somebody wanted to ask us, I can give them a link to what that place is, because it's kind of hard to search for something like that on Airbnb. But we would recommend to stay at Alicia's. It was a 2-bedroom. Mm-hmm. One had a king bed. Yay! And one had 2 queens. And, full kitchen, which we didn't make any food when we were there, but we needed a big refrigerator for the big-ass pizza box.
Oh, yeah.
From Janino's.
My giant 6-pack of Bud Light.
Your Bud Light. And my cake. When we would get cake and not have it for dessert at the restaurant, we would bring it back, and then we ate. My birthday was Monday. I ate cake by the ocean. Your birthday was Tuesday. You ate cake by the ocean.
It was pretty special.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we took a really cool road trip. Fairhope and Foley. Anyway, that was really fun because I got to see some of the other towns. We didn't just stay right in Gulf Shores on the beach, but that was a whole day of driving.
Right. And I used to work down there, and so I knew when I lived down there 20-some years ago, it was farmland. And that's kind of what I remembered it was. So for me, it was more about getting out and seeing some of the area and seeing if I could recognize anything, which I really couldn't. But it was fun to drive along the coast all the way up to Fairhope and then get back into some of the countryside, like Magnolia Springs, and then get over to Foley and Loxley and see how some of those areas have developed or haven't developed. Mm-hmm. Loxley is still felt like it looks even smaller than it was when I worked down there. But
we drove by a cotton field, which was kind of cool because I've never seen a cotton field.
Oh yeah, well there was still some cotton that hadn't been harvested, so you got a nice big cotton boll off of it. And
I did.
souvenir.
I took one, right? And the pine trees.
The massive amounts of big giant cedars down there everywhere you go.
Yeah, I had no idea there were pine trees. There were parts of where we were going and that reminded me of northern Minnesota, which we love because of all the pine trees.
Oh, that would be ideal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have palm trees too, but you said they're not
native
to the area.
Yeah, usually they got these big giant oak trees, which really don't go dormant. But yeah, the big pine trees, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I liked it better than Arizona. I mean, Arizona's fine to vacation, but you're not by water either. Mm-hmm. Whereas in Gulf Shores, you're by water. You have the pines, you have the palms. It's really neat. Magnolia Springs.
Okay.
That's where we're gonna live. Once we raise $1 million.
Yeah, a couple million
dollars for the house that's on the market there that we found.
Yeah.
That we really like, and it's been on the market since June last year.
Yeah, the property's really cool. The house isn't so special, but
we can make it look really cool though.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on a corner and it has the big huge boathouse, the double boathouse with big loft in it.
Right. And yeah, you just kind of drive your boat underneath there and just kind of it's there.
Well, Magnolia Springs, so it's kind of funny because a couple years ago, you read a lot and you know about a lot of things, but you came across somehow this bed and breakfast that was for sale in Magnolia Springs, which piqued your interest because it's down in that area where you used to live that you like.
Yep.
And so we seriously were reading about it and we really talked like, would we move there? Would we buy this bed and breakfast?
Which was also $1 million.
So obviously we were dreaming, but we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And what that would be like. And so when we get down there and we're taking this little road trip, we get to Magnolia Springs and all of a sudden we're driving down Oak Street with these amazing live oaks. It's like the arch. It's, it's kind of what that town is. When you see pictures of Magnolia Springs, you're often seeing that picture of the arch of live oaks down that street. Well, the bed and breakfast is right on the corner. Mm-hmm. So we stopped the car and we're like, here's the bed and breakfast we talked about buying.
Yep. And then just straight down that street is that house we found that was, right on the Magnolia River.
Mm-hmm. And the Magnolia River
is known for...
it's the only place where the United States Postal Service delivers mail by boat. So everybody has their mailbox out on the river by their boathouse.
Yep, by their boathouse or their dock.
Their dock. And that's how they get their mail delivered all year long.
All year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's kind of fun.
Even if it's snowing there.
Does it snow there?
It can snow there.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, but that was a neat town, and we saw this building that kind of looked like a little grocery store or something. We weren't really sure, and by then I think it was dark, wasn't it? It was nighttime. And anyway, we had gone on the way there on that road trip day. We went to Punta Clara Kitchen. Yes. Which is in what they call Miss Colleen's house, an old family house. Now there's her great niece and great nephew, and their families run the house, the property. And part of that house has this kitchen where they make candies, so you can stop in and buy candies, pralines, jams, pickles, all this stuff that they make there at the kitchen. Well, they had in their little store exactly what I'd been wanting as a souvenir. Drum roll. A community cookbook. They had quite a few, you know, from different local churches and towns. Well, I picked out one that they put out themselves as Punta Clara Kitchen, but Magnolia Springs, the community association for that town, put one out in 2017, and so I picked that one up. And it turns out it has a ton of pictures and history and stories and recollections from people, pictures of different houses in that town and the stories behind, you know, how they came to be, because that bed and breakfast actually started as a hotel when it was built, and then eventually turned into a private residence, but then back into a bed and breakfast. But we read about in that book about how this place that we had seen that we thought was a little grocery store or something, it used to be the general store in that area, and the building kind of next to it or attached to it was the old post office. They turned it into this really nice dining establishment called Jesse's.
Mm-hmm.
And so we
did go back to Magnolia Springs to visit the restaurant, which was great.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that meal in the next part then when we talk about food.
Cool.
But I think both of us agree that that kind of would top our most memorable meals in our lifetime so far.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because that night when we were kind of wrapping up our road trip and headed out, we had seen early in the morning, because we stopped at Badass Coffee. Mm-hmm. And on that road, the same road down the road, is Big Mike's Steakhouse.
Big Mike's.
And you had kind of just seen it out of the corner of your eye. You're driving and you're like, oh, that place looked really cool back there.
Oh, yeah, and it was jam-packed. And so when I was driving by it...
No, because we drove by in the morning, and you saw the building, which looked really cool.
Oh, I thought it was like our second time by it, maybe.
Oh. You saw it during the daytime, and it just looked neat. So we looked on Google Maps, found it, that it was this place, looked online. They don't take reservations. So we get there, and the place is jam-packed. Mm-hmm. And our wait was over an hour, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyway.
It was a great place. So we went back and spent the next day at the beach.
Monday was my birthday, and we spent most of the day at the beach.
And that's the day we got fried?
We got fried.
Fried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, it's a cool place that we went to. It was the Wharf.
Is that where the car show was?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And they had a lot of cool stores. They've got a lot of things to do there. But we went to check out some old cars, and people come down with their old cars. And I don't know if they compete for any prizes and stuff, but some of those people have put a lot of work into like their old pickups and Broncos. And
the Wharf also had the marina.
Where we can buy our next yacht.
Right. That won't fit on the Magnolia River when we move to Magnolia Springs. Won't fit in our new boathouse. Yeah, the Wharf was pretty cool, though. I mean, if you were there with kids and stuff, you could probably have some fun there between shopping. And there's a Ferris wheel. I think there's rides, maybe mini golf or something. I don't really remember. We didn't check into any of that.
I really liked one of the stores that was there at the Wharf was the Pepper Palace.
The Pepper Palace?
Yeah. And they had, I don't know, spices and flavorings. Pepper Palace, they had, you know, little things you could sample everything. Mm-hmm. Which
little spoons.
Was pretty neat. Mm-hmm. However, mostly as a prank, and my brother probably won't be listening to this, but, you know, I would take some of this world's hottest hot sauce that I got and maybe spike one of his sandwiches.
So you'll bring it with you, or... Well, he'll be here. Oh, he'll be here.
Yeah.
In the end of April.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to use it on him.
Well, the lady was like, like 2 drops of this is some guy seasons his whole like 5-gallon vat of soup.
Well, and did you say you had to sign a waiver or something to buy it, right?
Yeah, I did.
That?
They were dead serious about signing this waiver before I could purchase this little bottle of spice.
Mm-hmm. So that was the Wharf. They have An amphitheater, too, where they have concerts all summer. So
We didn't
there
get
in
to
the
check
summer.
one of those out, but
Because I don't know that they had any going on. They think it's winter there. Although I think that would be a perfect temperature, 70 degrees, 60 degrees at night to be at a concert. But
not like our Kid Rock concert.
in St. Louis,
Yeah, it was like still
100 degrees.
90.
It was hot and sweaty. We went to the Mardi Gras parade on your birthday. And
Yeah,
we experienced moon pies for the first time.
love the moon pies.
Got beads and moon pies, and we didn't know that they throw all this stuff out. I mean, I guess we kind of did, but I didn't
Beads
think of
and everything like that, but I had no idea. But they had like stuffed animals and cups and different types of trinkets and stuff. And most of that stuff that I caught, I just handed to some other dad with his kids sitting next to us.
they brought. I mean, the experienced people brought a bag or bags because they knew that they would be shoving all this stuff in there. And when they started throwing out moon pies, I was putting them in my pockets. They were good. We had strawberry, chocolate, the regular moon pies,
Yeah, I think it was like a vanilla.
graham, vanilla, whatever. So we got to experience that. Another really cool thing, and you must have known about this. Yeah, you knew about it, that you can put your car on a ferry.
Oh, yeah. They from Fort Walton to Dauphin Island, you can take a ferry with your vehicle, holds like 10 to 12 vehicles, and you ride this ferry across to the other side of Mobile Bay. And I guess for some people it can be convenient instead of driving all the way around, because it's quite a ways. You're 30, 40 minutes from Gulf Shores back up to the interstate, 10, 15 minutes still into Mobile. So I guess it provides a shorter way to get over into Mobile.
Yeah. And it was fun too. So we knew that we wanted to go to Mobile because you knew I wanted to see a plantation. We couldn't really find anything close, but you found this kind of a place that you could tour, an old historic home. I think it was called Oakley or Oakley House.
Oh, that one, yeah. And we're like, it doesn't really look that impressive, size-wise. The pictures, make it out to be this big trading post, and it's a historic place, which it is, but it's not very grandiose.
Right. Once we drove up to it, so we didn't even get out of the car. But before that, we had eaten downtown in the historic part of Mobile at Spot of Tea, which was really good. But the Basilica right down there was beautiful. And they leave the doors unlocked, and you can go in and tour. Just breathtaking.
Yeah.
We've been in the Basilica in Minneapolis, where Lindsay and Jesse got married.
Yep.
This was like that, and maybe even more grandiose. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. It probably isn't as big as the one in Minneapolis, but it's definitely special. What made this place really cool is the crypt. Right below where everybody sits in the pews, there is a crypt with bishops from the past that are entombed down below. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, toward the front, there's this little winding staircase that goes down to the basement. And
Yeah, and you're like, don't walk down there.
I know, you're like heading down. I'm like, you can't just walk down there. And like, yeah, you can.
I'm like, it's not roped off.
Right. It doesn't say do not enter. And
Yeah.
then that's what it was.
Yeah.
Really
unique.
unique.
And I thought the really cool thing, too, is the altar. It was the carved, it had the carved of the Last Supper. It was three-dimensional, and it was spectacular.
Yeah, I have pictures, so I can share it on a blog post, but it's not going to do it justice for what it really is like when you're standing in that beauty.
Yeah, pretty breathtaking. But that was fun. Then we got there, and then I took you to a real mansion, like an old plantation, but they were closed, so we didn't get any tours. But just outside, I mean, the azaleas were in bloom, and the huge live oaks and these crepe myrtle trees decorated the outside of this mansion, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, if we go back, I want to tour it. That was the Bragg Mitchell Mansion. Yeah, I want to go back and get on the inside of it. It was really pretty.
It's huge.
It was huge. Well, and of course, The groundskeeper was there mowing the lawn, and I mean, I took off my shoes and walked in the grass because there's green grass and it's so beautiful. And we're in the dead of winter back in Minnesota, so I'm walking around without my shoes, and you're over there talking to the gardener guy. You'd probably talked to him for at least a half an hour and learned about all different kinds of trees.
Well, we talked about all kinds of stuff. He was talking about skiing in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We just kind of hit up a whole bunch of conversation topics, but yeah, it's cool. But yeah, it's like February back home, and here it was felt like late spring, and now here it feels still like January.
Well, yeah, now we feel like we're back in the middle of winter because our March has been so cold and snowy, and
right. I mean, it is literally like the first day of spring. What, tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Today's Sunday. I have not left our house since Tuesday. Tuesday's when I went down to Sioux Falls to do Kello, and then I had to rush back because you're like, the
road's blowing in. Hurry up and get home.
Blowing shut. You need to get back home. And so I got home Tuesday just after lunchtime, and now it's Sunday, and I still haven't left the house. I even put shoes and coat and went out, walked around the house the other day just to get some fresh air. Oh, and then this wild cat has been hanging around. Yeah, so I had to feed the cat that has been hanging around. Cheerios and milk and tuna is what he's eaten so far, or she. I don't know what it is yet, but
funny.
Anyway, so we have plenty of activities happening back around here. All right. Well, I don't know anything else other than, we'll talk about food next time, the meals, because we had some good food. And we didn't talk about the bars.
The bars.
We need to talk about the bars. That was one of the funnest things.
Yes, there was a lot of cool places, and they weren't even like jam-packed or jumping yet like it happens over spring break and through the summer, but tons of cool places that we visited. Mm-hmm. Which one would you like to talk about first?
Well, I think we should talk about, there's kind of a handful of ones that everybody loves. They're the big ones, most popular. So I think the Hangout was the one where when we left the Hangout, we were like, we need to come back here and seriously party.
Yeah. Well, because the staff, they make it fun. They're involved in, they got their own routines, and it's kind of like going into a TGI Fridays or something like that.
But a million times cooler than
way
that.
Cooler. Yep. And they got an MC that runs around, and he's interviewing people and, getting people to do stuff. It's your birthday, and all these people got to get up and stand and jump around on the table. And
there's a DJ up in the DJ booth, so they're jamming music, and did you say the serving staff throwing napkins up in the air?
Yeah.
Choreographed.
It's
throwing
all choreographed.
Napkins. Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
The DJ booth is covered in Pez dispensers. It's suspended up above the restaurant area. And this was indoor that day, but there's tons of outdoor space, a big stage because they have live music there.
Yeah, they got live music pretty much going all day. The weekends, there's always something going on at this place. And
there's one section of the building where the whole ceiling is covered in rubber duckies, plastered up on the ceiling.
Sure.
just really quirky and fun and casual. And
the place has been around, forever. Since people started going to the Gulf Shores, this place called the Hangout's been there since, the mid-'60s. Mm-hmm. So.
And then right next to that, right on the beach, because that's on the beach, and then right next to that is the Pink Pony Pub. The Pink Pony, and that place has survived many storms and a couple hurricanes, and can't miss that building because it is pink and it has a pony on the side. But we went there for drinks, and
it was kind of midweek, in the evening. It really wasn't packed, but it is an iconic place that, everybody should go and visit.
Right, very iconic. And the people that were working there were really fun, too. And
absolutely.
I would go back there, have some drinks, more drinks, and more drinks.
Another cool place was the Gulf.
The container bar, or the shipping containers.
They're shipping containers stacked on one another, which is kind of a popular thing where people are turning them to homes. Well, somebody took all these containers, and maybe a dozen or so, and stacked them up and turned them into a bar.
And they're stacked not just
on
on
top
top
of
of
one
each
another,
other. They're
but
kind of
yeah.
sideways and different ways to kind of make this really cool.
Right angles and double stacked, and some are for seating, and mostly there are bars and a couple kitchens. Even the restrooms are in the containers. Mm-hmm. And then the place is filled with like artificial turf outside, and big couches and sectionals and picnic tables and tents and bistro lighting everywhere, and
Right on the beach. So when you drive up to it in the parking lot, all you're seeing is kind of the back side of these shipping containers. And a lot of them are even covered in greenery, and there's trees. So you really can't tell necessarily how cool it is until you walk into it. And then you're at this container bar on the beach.
yeah,
And some
it's
of those,
got all the palm trees and everything, and
some of the couches and that sort of living room-ish type furniture is right in the sand.
yeah,
And it's a really
it'd
cool
be like
place.
the perfect backyard. The white sand and then fake grass.
And fake grass that we don't have to mow, because then there's probably not mosquitoes either.
Right.
Yeah. So that was just simply called the Gulf. And the other,
Well, the place I liked the best was the Floribama bar,
there we go.
Yeah.
That place is completely iconic, the way it sounds to
which,
visiting.
yeah, it's set right on the Florida-Alabama state line. Mm-hmm. And not only this, people pass through there, just, I don't know, place where everybody goes because you'll go from Alabama over to Florida to buy your lottery tickets and your liquor. And,
Well, they have that right on the property. So, like you said, you can stand right straddling Florida and Alabama. Mm-hmm. And there's Floribama, the bar, restaurants, whatever. And then they also have on the Florida side, in the same like parking lot, is the liquor store and the lottery place.
right.
Which we came out $30 a head, I think, there.
But inside the actual bar where they do all the entertainment, they have like a crow's nest overlooking one bar, and they have or stage, a crow's nest overlooking one stage, but they have bars on several different levels and several different places where people are playing live music.
They have 5 stages.
Yeah, indoor and outdoor, and it's pretty much busy all year round. There's always something going on there. They post their schedule all the time of who's coming up, and a lot of people are regulars down there. They play every week, and
Yeah, before we went, I watched a YouTube video from their website that just shows sort of the history of it, but also the crowds that they get when it's spring break or summertime and all these
Right.
concerts. And I think Kenny Chesney's been there a lot, and very iconic. It's like if you're going to Gulf Shores and you don't go there, what are you even going to Gulf Shores for?
yeah, you kind of missed out because it's unique just right from the outside coming inside. I've never seen anything like it.
And it was fun to be able to listen to this guy here and then walk over to a different bar and then listen to somebody else over here. And again, that would be such a cool place to have around here.
Yeah, and they're, some of them are young musicians, looking for a place to get their start and get noticed and, maybe record some music. And
Yeah, a great place to get in front of a lot of people.
yep,
Yeah.
get your chops wet.
So I think those are kind of the 4 big bars. I mean, in our food episode, we'll talk about Moe's Barbecue. And that's a place, too, that when we went there, they didn't have their back part open. I mean, we walked back there, but there's a stage and they have all these seating and picnic tables and lighting, and then they have sand because they're not right on the beach. So they've created their own sort of sand pit with all this super fun area to hang out and drink and party. And I would imagine that would be a really fun place to be at, too, when they have live music.
Yeah, I mean, and so many places are like that where they've, just got their outdoor space because I'm sure they're used to getting massive amounts of people throughout the, spring and summer.
Mm-hmm. And me, I'm so enamored with that because we're stuck in the house this time of year, and to go somewhere where you can be outside and eat outside, drink outside, listen to music outside, walk outside. It's
and
just so refreshing.
The smell of the Gulf and, the salt air, what was I say? The salt and sea is the life for me.
Right. And not salt on the roads, Here it's all the salt on the roads in our cars. Yeah. Southern hospitality. I mean, I have one Southern friend, Tracy Deathridge, and she's just a gem. And this was like being around a million Tracys. It was so fun. Really, really liked it.
Yeah. And you'd sit down and finish your meal, and somebody's like, oh, have a blessed day.
Right.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So lots of fun to be had, and we'll be able to find a lot more fun. There were some things we didn't get to. I know there were some like restaurants or like a smokehouse. There was a cheesecake place, a cafe. We were on the search for the best sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
And that didn't come to fruition. We didn't get that done.
We just found a place over in Mobile that had some sweet potato pies.
Yeah, some little mini kind of tartlet ones, but the Welcome Center recommended us to go to that sweet secret cafe. And
it was a secret because we kept looking for it several times.
But we did end up finding it.
Yeah, and then it was closed.
Right, so we didn't get to go there. They maybe have. So we might just be in the wrong spot to find some of those things, but there's a smoke place that I want some things. They're only open certain days of the week, and you have to order ahead because you don't go in and eat. You have to order it online and then take it to go. We'll talk about that in the next episode too.
Okay.
So any else fun? Gulf Shores, Alabama?
Gulf
of Mexico?
I highly recommend it. I had such a blast. I know we want to go back as soon as we can. I don't know if we want to go back there when it's like 90.
Yeah.
But I
90
would certainly
and humid,
go back
no.
in the 80s.
Well, we were lucky when we were there because record high temps.
Yeah.
So it turned into a beach vacation when that wasn't necessarily what I thought that we would get. The next episode, or part 2 of this one, we'll share because I wasn't the only one that ate on this trip.
Yeah, we can talk about where we had breakfast, a couple different places.
Mm-hmm. There was one place we went back to twice because it was so good for breakfast, and another
really
place
cool
we went to twice. But when we went back that second time to this other place, we had to raise our white flag because we were too much food.
Too much food. Generous, very generous.
Mm-hmm. And there's a couple dishes that now we want to recreate at home that we had out there. And kind of like Arizona with your Monte Cristo. That was in episode 13, I think, that you talked about that.
Well, gotta recreate that thing from Jesse's with the... Was it the fogaju or something?
The Fontina dip, the Fontina cheese dip. Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
And some things we just will not. There's no way we'll be able to recreate back at home. We just need to go back there and have it again.
Yeah, like the grouper.
Oh, goodness. Mm-hmm. Plus the coffee shop that we happened to get to at the very end because we happened to...
Well, I happened to forget my trunks.
Your swim trunks?
Swim trunks on the balcony,
At the condo, so we had to turn around and go back, which made us go past this coffee place that I'm like, oh, wait, I remember reading about that. So hopefully y'all tune in to part 2, which will actually be episode 17, where we're going to talk about the great meals that we had.
Amazing meals.
Gulf Shores.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. See, that was way more fun than a slideshow. Yeah, I know. We only talked about a few places other than the beach and our condo pool, but honestly, there's so much to do in Gulf Shores for all kinds of people, from families with young children or teenagers glued to their phones, to romantic getaways, friends or sisters trips, or even a solo trip that we just couldn't talk about at all. As a matter of fact, we tried, and it sounded like a 75-minute infomercial, so we scratched it and started all over. And then by then, we'd already consumed a lot of coffee, so... Because no matter what you like to do, you'll find it in Gulf Shores. They have water sports and parasailing, fishing. You can just relax on the beach with a book, collect seashells, take a boat charter, go out on jet skis, take a dolphin cruise. They have lots of golf courses there and miles of bike trails and camping. You'll definitely want to check out the Gulf Shores State Park for the camping, the bike trails. They have a lake there called Shelby Lake. There's dog parks. There, Gulf Shores has shopping, community activities. There's entertainment centers that have water parks, go-karts, mini golf, laser tag. That might get the teenagers off of their phones for a while. There's art galleries, nature preserves. There's a ton of interesting places for you history buffs. And of course, dining. Oh my goodness, so great food, lots of seafood. There's live entertainment anywhere. And you know what? There's even sand castle building classes. So there's something for everybody. So I posted photos on randomsweets.com, and I included links to a bunch of the places that we either visited or we heard about. But probably the most useful tourism website that I've ever used is gulfshores.com. It's the Gulf Shores and Orange Beach tourism website, and you'll find almost everything that you need there. And if you can't, you can call them or you can text them during business hours. They even have a text number that you can text questions to. And it even shows you on the website how to sign up for those daily beach conditions and weather alert text messages, which I still am getting because I can't bear to not get the daily surf conditions yet to give that up. So I also suggest they have welcome centers. They have 2 welcome centers once you get there. And one's Gulf Shores, one's Orange Beach. And they have a coupon book. They have brochures and maps for all kinds of adventures. And you can also pick up free postcards. Now in episode 17, so the next episode, we share our top 5. I picked my top 5. Jason picked his top 5 meals and dining experiences in Gulf Shores and Baldwin County, including what Paula Deen has to do with my first time eating gooey butter cake, the food that we want to recreate at home, and the one place that tops our all-time most memorable dining experiences ever. And of course, we can't leave out the honorable mentions too, like my first ever visit to the Waffle House. And just a quick correction, when we talked about the Mobile Bay Ferry, Jason said that you can take a ferry from Fort Walton to Dauphin Island, but it's actually a ferry between Fort Morgan and Dauphin Island. And speaking of the ferry, they do not sell tickets in advance, so it's a first come, first serve. It books up quickly. And my best advice is to check out their Facebook page, which is just Mobile Bay Ferry, because this is where they post their daily schedule. If there's any changes or cancellations due to weather, they'll post when a ferry is full, so sometimes they can't make it back or forth because winds pick up or fog rolls in, so you really need to stay in tune to that. And I'm thinking ahead to the episode that I'm working on for April, and on that I plan to share recipes for cheesy hash brown casserole, funeral potatoes, party potatoes, whatever you call them in your family, and I would really love to share your recipe in that episode, so please email it to me at stacy@randomsweets.com, and that's STACI@randomsweets.com. And thank you to Kathy and Callie and Marie for sharing yours with me already. Be sure to listen to our Gulf Shores episode, the food episode, coming up next on episode 17. I hope you subscribe or follow Funeral Potatoes and Wool Mittens wherever you get your favorite shows so that you get an alert when a new episode is available for you. And be sure to download them to your phone or tablet so you can listen to them while you take the dog for a walk. Sweet wishes!